Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to the December 3rd meeting of the Juvenile Justice Subcommittee of the Youth Development Council. And we have really one task to do today, and that is review the Oregon Juvenile Detention Guidelines, 6th edition, somewhat for the last time, so that we hopefully are able to move them forward to the full Youth Development Council meeting, which will be on December 11th. So it's coming up. I am going to take a moment today and just ask everyone who is on the call to introduce themselves. Simply just, oftentimes we just introduce the committee members, but I want to just give the space for people to introduce themselves today. And Joy, I'm just going to ask if you will call the names down the list, and when Joy calls your name, come off of mute and name and role, potentially just a quick introduction. So Joy, I will let you do that, please. And maybe you can start.
Thanks, Molly. I'm Joy Snyder. I'm the admin specialist for prevention and justice. And it's good to meet you all today. So I'm going to go through the roll call list. And if you're here, just say present and do a quick introduction. And then I think staff can do our introductions after everyone else. So first on the list, we have Zan Ojero. So she's not here today, but she did send a message that she would not be able to make it or might join a little later. Next, we have George Kochlax.
Oh, sometimes it's just coming off mute's hard.
Joy, can you take the judge off, maybe?
I'm trying to, but let's see. I'm not able to. I think I'm only able to ask him to unmute.
Okay.
I can come back to you, Judge Kochlax. Next up we have Sam Cole.
Now can you hear me?
Sam's here.
No,
yeah.
Hi, I'm Judge Cokeless. My name is kind of a rough one, but it's pronounced Cokeless like no Coke.
And Your Honor, I will do that because that's how I respond in court. But do you go by Charles or George?
Charles.
Perfect. Thank you. And what jurisdiction, Judge, are you in?
I am in Jackson County.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. We are excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next up we have Sam Cole.
Sam is here.
Thank you, Sam. Do you want to do a brief intro?
I'm from Oregon Department of Education.
Thank you. Next we have Kim Lay. Andy Leonard. Tabitha Lewis. Christina McMahon. Molly Rogers.
I am here, and while I'm the chair of this subcommittee, my daytime job is I am the director of the Wasco County Department of Youth Services.
Thank you, Molly. Next up, we have Nate Latanzio. Jeff Justison.
Good morning still. Jeff Justison. I'm a Wasco County Commissioner and a former detention manager at Norcor.
Thank you, Jeff. Andrew Copeland. Lastly, we have Caitlin Edgar.
Edgar, Senior Policy Advisor for OIA Community Services.
Thank you, Caitlin. And I'm going to pass it back to the staff now to do introductions. Anya, do you want to go first?
Yes, certainly. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anya Sikin, Associate Director of Youth Development, Oregon. Joy, do you want me to pass it on? I'll go
Yeah,
to you.
if you could.
Okay. Let's go to Brian.
Let me find my mute button. Good morning, everybody. Brian Detman, Youth Development Oregon Director. I'm just excited to be here with y'all this morning and appreciate everybody joining us. And I'm going to just put in a little plug. Sam is an ex officio member of our council and a member of this committee. And a big part of his responsibility is around education provided in detention and kind of custody for young people. So I won't even try to wise up Jade up, but juvenile and youth custody situations. So that's Sam's responsibility and why he's such an important member of the team, right, Sam?
Thank you, Brian. And also the day in residential treatment facilities, such as, like St. Mary's, Children's Farm Home. So we have the whole gamut. Yeah, thank you.
Maybe Lindsay, how about you go?
Hi, I'm Lindsay Schoonover, and I am the compliance monitor for Oregon with Youth Development Oregon, and I will pass it to Lawrence.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lawrence White, Racial and Ethnic Disparity Coordinator with Youth Development Oregon, and I'll pass it back to Joy.
Thank you, Lawrence. I think we have a few
Is Melissa on?
other guests. Yes, Melissa is here as well. Melissa, do you want to go next?
Sure, thank you. Can you hear me okay? I'm on a different headset. Okay, great, thank you. Melissa Gallardo, my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm Executive Support Specialist with Youth Development Oregon. And I'm also looking at the screen. Have we heard from Christina Berger? And I think this is it for staff.
I'm
pass it on.
Christina. I put it in the chat there. I wasn't sure if I was not on your list. So I'm Christina Berger. I'm a grant reporting specialist with Southern Oregon Education Service District and working on a juvenile justice grant for career connected learning in STEAM.
Thank you, Christina. Molly, I'll put it back to you.
Sure. Christy Hudson, would you like to, you've been a real strong supporter for the detention guidelines. Would you like to take a moment and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name's Christy Hudson, she, her pronouns, and I'm staff to the System of Care Advisory Council. Just here to listen in today. Thank you.
Yeah, no, have really appreciated your insight and participation. So welcome everyone to the detention guidelines final review. And I want to take just a brief moment and just appreciate the dedication and the work of this team over the last about 16, 17 months that we have really put the time in to go page by page for the detention guidelines, pull from all sorts of kind of national as well as our own state on what best practices are, as well as really included many partners at our table and invited lots of different people to come. And so it's been a long process, but an important process to make sure that we are framing, the guidelines are just that. There's no money attached for detention facilities to actually implement the guidelines, but that they are seen by the detention facilities as kind of critical pathways forward to do the best work in Oregon that we have. And so just want to just take a moment and appreciate and thank everyone for that. We have some comments that came in from our YDC members that really took the time to walk through each of the pages kind of diligently to see that there are things that are even just typos and commas and different things. And so we'll walk through those today. There will be a couple of points that we're really going to need everyone to lean in and give advice on. So, but there's just a couple of those now. So I'm going to walk through these the best I can, and Joy is going to guide me as we move through. And she has all of the comments on the side, I think.
Yeah,
and
they're
so
all they're all listed from the first page, so we can get going whenever you're ready.
So I think the first one is on page 8, I think is the first comment. Is that correct, Joy?
Yes, it is. It is on
And-
the purpose, and it is from Jeff Parker.
Yes, and so Jeff Parker hasn't been really a partner. He's very active on the Youth Development Council. He hasn't been really active on our group because I think he chairs another committee, but he took the time to really read through, and he thought this particular paragraph was very powerful and wanted to know if we could highlight it some way. And I don't know how we do that. I would be interested in thoughts. If we maybe Brian, Anya, Joy, because you guys are the ones that really have been working on the development of the document, meaning the formatting of it. I don't know if there's a better place to put this document or this paragraph, or if we can bold it. I don't know what you guys were thinking about there.
I think we can bold it.
I do too. I think bolding it would make it stand out. And it was just a night. It was from somebody who's not, he's from he's from workforce and Job Corps, right?
Yeah, workforce development,
Yeah.
youth, and also runs a charter sort of alternative school down in Eugene, and has programming in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Yeah.
Okay. Caitlin, you had a comment. I can't read chats very well, so go ahead and raise your hand and share it with us.
Yeah,
Or don't raise your hand, just share it with us.
I just wanted to point out religious beliefs should be beliefs there.
Oh, thank you. See, these are the exact perfect. Okay. Beautiful. Now to page, anybody opposed to highlighting that? Okay. To page 21. And this was a question that was just asked. And the question, during the intake process, youth will be given the opportunity to sign a release of information for education and medical records. The question is, can they legally do that? And I'm going to lean on my colleagues here to say, I think that we can, like Sam and Jeff are the one I'm going to lean on. Should this say, during the intake process, youth will be given the opportunity to sign a release of information for education and medical records? So on medical records, I think they can sign if they're 14 years or older, but I don't know about education. And so Sam, can you weigh in on that?
They can't it's not really an ROI to release, because like the JDAP sites, they can ask for records from the schools without the kid's permission, but it's just giving the kid realizing that, because the parents are not there, during the intake process. And that's reality, it's just so that, it empowers the kids to let them know that, you have a right, whether you want the information shared or not. But regardless of whether the kids provide the permission or not, the JDAP site will have to ask for the educational records from the previous school site, regardless of whether they have it or not. They have that right and the responsibility. It's just a way of like letting them know you're empowered, we're going to do this, and so forth. Yeah.
Okay.
I,
And Jeff on medical records?
well, not being an attorney, I agree that at 14, they can sign for those. And I would agree with both your comment, Molly, that they can sign, and I agree with Sam's kind of assessment of that. I think it's a good idea that the youth know that the records are coming. It gives them a little more power, and it does say that they'll be given the opportunity, not necessarily required. Um, so I think what this is doing is assuring that the facilities have that paperwork available for the kids. Not so it's more about in my mind, it's more about the facilities than the youth.
Okay. Others? I think that's a great way. And when Jeff comes on, we can share that. Like I can respond back that it's really more about the facilities and less about the youth. So I really appreciate that. Okay. The next on this page also, let me see about this because I need to find this one. On number 4 on this page, can you go up, Joy, just a second? So where it says see Appendix X and Section Y in number 4, do you see that? We don't have those in this particular document. Those are the old document, and we've incorporated that into this document. So that just needs to be removed because there is no Appendix X, Section Y. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So number 4, this is a wordsmithing one. And I agree with the comment that staff make materials available for limited proficient youth in all appropriate languages. That has, that's awkward and weird. And so, so I have a proposed change of staff provide materials to limited proficient youth in all languages appropriate to their identified needs. Does that help? Or is it still too vague?
Molly, which page is this? I've got it up on a different screen that's easier for me to read. Which page are we on?
We are on page 24, number 4.
Thank you.
Molly,
yeah.
This might be getting too wordsmithy, but to me, the clunkiest part is where it says limited English proficient youth. And I'm wondering if something just like for youth with limited English proficiency rolls a little bit better.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Can you put it in the chat real quick so that Joy can grab it and copy it? I like that a lot better. Okay, thank you, Caitlin. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. And then we're going to go to page 28. And again, I need everybody to lean in on this one. Staff should review whether or not community resource supports LGBTQ plus youth needs before a referral is made. Thank you, Sam. To that specific community resource for LGBTQ plus youth. I actually am not sure that this belongs here at all. And I'm going to lean in again that I don't know that detention staff is making referrals. Typically, that I believe comes back to the juvenile court counselors. But I don't know. Jeff, maybe you could weigh in a little bit. And the comment was, even if a community resource doesn't support LGBTQ plus youth, are they still making the referral? And the answer is, I don't know. Our detention facility doesn't make referrals like that. It comes back to the juvenile probation officer.
I would agree that Norcor is a little bit unique because of all the entities that that use it. Everybody's a little bit different, so we put a lot of that back on the juvenile court counselors. Sports.
Any thoughts on that one?
Molly, did you have an idea? This is Brian Detman, for the record. Did you have an idea where it should go? If it doesn't go here? Sorry, I thought I heard you say that, and I was like, oh, maybe.
Oh, no, I don't have it. I'm not sure where. I'm not sure
Okay.
how to wordsmith it.
Fair.
So, and it's an interesting piece because we talk about do not base housing and programming decisions on race and ethnicity. I'm curious if this is really staff should not base housing or programming decisions on. I mean, I don't know where we're at with this particular piece. It's kind of in a weird spot. It's kind of weird right here, is my point.
Molly, do you remember if we had it in the previous edition, or was it added this time?
It was added this time. So so here's the piece where it's talking about. So if we start to reach capacity, so we're going to start telling people they can't send kids to our facility because we have too many kids. That's what this is talking about. Because it's under the best practice of the facility develops and implements written policies, procedures, and actual practices to ensure that when institutional populations approaches or reaches its rated capacity, appropriate youth are released or stepped down to non-secure settings. And then it talks about staff provide youth with heightened supervision until they have collected the information necessary to fully classify youth, taking into consideration the following information. So this is about moving kids out of the facility when we start to get at capacity. Does that make sense? So the section A covers all of these things. Like, I just don't know that C is the right one here. Because we talk about following information with the goal of keeping you safe. Age, gender identity, history of violent behavior, level of emotional and cognitive development, current charges, offense history. And we go through all of those things. And then it says, and other information that may indicate a need for heightened supervision or additional safety precautions.
I would agree that it might be slightly redundant, because if we're talking about releasing a youth to another resource, we're going to consider that with all the other issues and or risk factors like the suicide, the victimization, age, all those things too. But sorry, I'm trying to decide what the best way to put this is.
Yeah. And we might make decisions based on if there are, so some placements are culturally specific. So I know OYA has done a lot of work on developing cultural resources. So it may be more appropriate to say staff base housing and programming decisions based on staff make base housing and program decisions taking into consideration race, ethnicity, culture, and resources for LGBTQ plus youth. What do you guys think about that? Cultural?
Wait. Did I just hear like housing or like placement decisions will be based on race, ethnicity, and so forth?
Taking into consideration, because we have some.
Because that could be it could go the other way too.
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
Like it could be used as segregation,
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. But there are some programs specifically designed for, so no, I completely agree. Other thoughts?
I
Caitlin?
agree with what Molly is saying and what Sam is saying. I think that we should reflect that we are going to take into consideration trying to place youth into environments that are going to be most culturally responsive to them if that's what they're looking for. But it is tricky finding the right language to say that.
I think you just did it. Matching youth with cultural responsivity and service support needs.
That sounds wonderful, Molly.
Does that sound better, Sam? Does that sound like what we're trying to get to?
Well, you might just throwing in, you might use responsive and or affirming.
Okay.
There's some couple of words there just to throw them into the mix, not to make it more complicated, but
yeah. I love it. So I'm going to write something in here, Joy, for you because I know that dancing in the middle of this.
Okay, I was just about to ask. Thank you.
Okay, so staff will try to match youth with cultural and gender responsive and affirming placements. Again, this is very specific when we are at capacity and moving kids out. Does that make sense to everybody? You have to check my spelling because I used AMD I used my M instead of my D in a couple spots, Joy.
Okay, no problem. I'll still go back and So are we taking out C?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I think that is everybody good with that one? Okay. This so then we go to page 32. Is that right? Is that where we're at? Top paragraph below bullet has
Yeah, I wasn't very sure what he meant by that. He said it has an artifact typo in the second sentence, and this is the second sentence.
I think it's in the third sentence. Further, they should be trained on how to. Do you see the JS1 there?
Okay.
I don't think that belongs there. Brian, that's great. I think we should take Brian's comment into our last one. I won't go back to it, but we'll get that there. Okay. And then we go to the next one. Okay. So I want to really lean in on this particular one and ask for everybody's thoughts on it because this is compounded or conflicting in the document later. And it's page 31 and it is under general supervision of youth. So this is not in any specialty situation. So it's not room lock, it's not isolation, nor is it anything else. And what we have said is direct observation of youth should require 15-minute checks while youth are in their rooms. So youth are in their rooms. It's not punitive. It's just they're in their rooms. And the question from Jeff Parker was, should we suggest that the best practice is not only to do 15-minute checks, but to also have a policy requiring 15-minute checks? And so I think there's a simple way to get to that, which is direct observation of youth require 15-minute checks. Just take the word should out. But I really want to talk about this a little bit on, is this reasonable? Can facilities get to this or just have some conversation around the 15-minute concept? And Judge, I know you're new to our subcommittee, but I'd love to hear your thoughts from the bench. Sam or Jeff or Caitlin or anybody who has kind of some ideas on this.
So this is Judge Koklas, and I think I'm logged in twice. Are you guys getting echoes?
We are, but maybe Joy could.
And I'm sorry, it's all my fault.
No.
But does this also include when kids are asleep?
It does at this moment in time.
Okay, and so my facility has windows on the doors, and if staff is available, they could just walk through every 15 minutes to check on all of the kids. So that's not unreasonable. What would bother me is if someone interpreted this as opening the doors, interrupting sleep. That would be very bad, I think. And then there was also the 60-minute rule. And I'm not sure if that conflicted with this 15-minute rule. I thought I read something about direct observation every 60 minutes as well.
So I'm going to lean in, and I think that is the 60 minutes the kind of the floor, and the best practices are raising that up.
Okay.
Jeff, do you want to lean in on this one?
Yeah, I think unless statutes changed in the past few years since I've been in a facility, I think it requires visual contact every 60 minutes, 30 minutes during sleeping hours. And so this would definitely up that. I think the question about whether the observation of youth you could add visual at some point in their direct visual observation of youth requires 15-minute checks that helps delineate that it's just visual. It's not necessarily walking in, waking them up, making sure they're okay. I will say some facilities will struggle a little bit with this, and here's an example of why. Norcor is set up a little differently now than when I was there. We changed our kind control room. We used to have a control room, and then so somebody was in there all the time, and you couldn't see into the rooms during that. So at night for checks, one staff can easily every 15 minutes check on youth. Unless there's only two staff on and there's an intake or an incident going on, then it's a little harder to get to the 15-minute checks. Not saying it's impossible. There are ways around it. 15-minute checks is pretty constantly walking the facility and checking on things, which is fine. The staff should be awake and doing something at night. But it does make it a little more difficult. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm just thinking out loud here from past experience.
Pam, please.
At some of the facilities, the classroom is in a different area or different part of the facility from the housing unit. So sometimes during the school day, all the kids are in the classroom except for one or two kids that remain in their room. So it could be when in those instances someone goes to check on the kids, to see they're all okay and so forth. But yeah, like the 15-minute could be cumbersome, like how Jeff said, but it could be where a check like where most of the kids are not in their living unit and there's one or two kids that are there like keeping check on them and so forth.
So I think about this two ways. And so I think historically it has been 30 minutes is what has been, is just for everyday supervision. This is just normal everyday supervision. When we get to different things such as room lock and isolation, the bar gets raised higher because there's some emotional regulation and stuff that's going on. So I'm totally okay with the 15 minutes. I just was curious. And if we take this out, we could just remove the word should, and it would be direct observation of youth require 15-minute checks while youth are in their rooms. But there's two pieces there. One is the word should, and the second is the length of time. And should we expand this one potentially to 30? So statute says 60, except at night when it's and so I'm just curious. Would people be really opposed to taking the word should out so it requires it and moving it to 30?
I would be okay with that.
Okay. Jeff Justison and then Jeff Parker. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think if it's going to be required, 30 minutes, even during the day, is actually probably as reasonable or more reasonable than even 30 minutes at night, because you have, in general, facilities have more staff on during the day.
Right.
My only other question, sorry, up above in number 1, it says indirect supervision shall not be substituted for direct supervision. And then in number 2, we're calling it direct observation. Should that also be a supervision for consistency?
Good catch. I think so. Is it? Yeah, I would probably change the word observation to supervision.
Yeah, hey Molly, Brian Detman, real question, and we're so close to over the line here, so and it's probably that I missed a particular conversation about this, but is a listing of best practice, is the 15-minute in reference to something that was found or established in some other, document or nationally 15 minutes is the best practice? Or so are we referencing something when we say 15 minutes? Or are we just like refining and it actually should be 30 and does that make sense?
You're going to find the 15-minute in a few minutes where I think it belongs.
I see.
Absolutely. Yep, because 15 minutes absolutely is in a different spot, the best practice.
Got it. And is that in that lock?
Yes.
Got it.
Yep. Yes, so this is just everyday life is wonderful. We're going on. We're just in the room. And then it starts to change.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So this maybe was a carryover from we use 15 minutes, but this is a different context. So 30 minutes makes sense in the just life is good context. 15 makes specific sense in a specific kind of instance. I get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor, for hanging in with us today, and we will look forward to continuing the conversation and at the meeting.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Molly, may I just one more thing along, just kind of following up on what Brian said. I think most facilities, and it's probably later in some specific checks, it can go clear down to depending on behavior and risk, can go clear up to constant supervision. I think everybody has a policy that goes from just the regular everyday things are good up to in the past we've called in staff on overtime to sit outside a youth's door watching them all night long directly if needed. So but again, I'm guessing that's covered later.
Molly, you're frozen. I think you're muted.
Muted.
Oh, yep, I'm muted. Sorry. That's great. So the next one is on page 37.
Molly, Jeff
Yes.
dropped out.
I know. I'm going to thank him, and this is perfect. Yes. And so this is a sentence structure. And so want to just go, and Anya is so correct. Jeff Parker is joined our committee today, and we're walking through all of the changes, both from Jeff and from other people. And Jeff, we're just getting to, on this particular page, it was a sentence structure that you called out. And I know where we got how it's written, youth will not be restrained to a fixed object, including bed or walls, because that is almost in all guidelines, is how it's written. But I do agree with you that it's probably should be restraining youth to any fixed object is prohibited, including beds or walls. It's probably how it should read. Would you agree?
Yeah, for me, it's kind of everything else is in one tense and this has a different verb tense. So I think they should be uniform, whatever they are.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really interesting. It was, yeah.
I would actually just say restraining youth to any fixed object, including beds or walls, because we prohibit it in number 8. Because like right below it says use of chemical agents, including, it doesn't say is prohibited again.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So it's prohibited in number 8, then all of these under it are prohibited. So I don't think we say is prohibited again.
Yep. Perfect. Restraining youth to a fixed object, including beds or walls. Perfect. Okay. Now then we go to page 39. And we now have, we are now in room lock. So room lock is confinement, it's not in isolation. But it is also not voluntary. So the best way I think to articulate what room lock is dysregulated behavior or emotions that are disrupting the milieu, and the young person needs to be removed. But it's not the same as isolation. So it's not a big blow up. It's more, I think about a stair step, and normal behavior is on the ground floor, and room lock is like on the landing before you get to isolation. Is that fair to explain it? And this is where we get to the first moment in time where this is where we go to the every 15 minutes. Does that seem too long, too short? Like, where are we at? And we now use the word monitors instead of supervision. And so I would change the language to staff provide direct supervision for any youth in room lock, because we are not technically at the isolation table yet. Oh no, we're in the wrong section, Joy. We need to go back up. Sorry. This is isolation. We can finish isolation right now though. So when a young person is in isolation, Jeff, what this is where it feels like isolation is the 5-minute kind of check in my world. Knowing that it was a kind of a significant issue that brought them to this. I mean, this is where staff provide direct supervision for any youth in isolation, at least every 5 minutes, but may need to be, I mean, I don't know. Thoughts? Brian, Anya, Lindsay even. Just share your thoughts.
So just an initial thought for me, I think we need to, it's a little helpful for people to go back up. I know a lot of you have read this far more frequently than me lately, but when it's defining isolation, it's talking about confinement in a room which lacks toilet facilities, furniture, reading, recreation materials. So there's a lot of, always a lot of discussion among the detention managers and sometimes attorneys at the courts or sometimes juvenile court counselors about whether somebody being in their room constitutes isolation, because there are toilet facilities in almost every room. I think isolation is an older term of, like a 10 by 10 padded cell kind of thing, right? So even in the definition that we have here, it talks about lacking. So if they're in their room, that's a little different. So that's where I struggle with the differentiation between isolation and room lock. That being said, from a time, supervision time and a visual time, isolation usually was an incident that led them out, and it should be. I may say something under isolation along the lines of directly monitors or whatever we're going to wordsmith that to any youth in isolation at least every 15 minutes, unless the.
Do you think it should be 15, Jeff, or do you think in isolation should it be 5?
Well, typically it's a fixed period of time, so it could probably go to 5. I'm just thinking, like I say, a lot of the places, if they put kids in rooms, are gonna call it room lock versus isolation.
So isolation are for the big events.
Right, but again, it's where they're at too, not
Yeah,
just
yeah, exactly. Yep.
it's where they're at too, not just what happened. But yeah, I mean, because if you're going to put somebody in an isolation, yeah, no, if you're going to put somebody in an isolation room, like I said, then they should be all but constantly supervised. So no more than 5 minutes is probably right.
Okay.
In isolation.
In isolation. So staff provide direct supervision for any youth in isolation at least every 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Now let's go back to room lock. Okay, now down a little bit. And a little bit farther, just a tiny bit farther. Number 7. Number 7. Staff should make visual contact with a youth. This one is where I think the 15-minute plays into it. So we've done 30, and then isolation is 5. This is where I think it's 15. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, I would agree. And I like that it has, depending on the emotional regulation,
Yeah.
because it could require a little
More.
more. Yeah, I would agree.
So Jeff Parker, after those definitions and explanations, does it make more sense now?
Yes, it was out of sequence. It was asymmetrical. So 30
It
to
was.
15 to 5 makes a ton more sense.
I so appreciate that because I agree with you that it was asymmetrical. Okay, now to page 52. Joy, this you don't have this one on the side. But I have a change for page 52.
Okay, there's a comment from Jeff on 51, but we can go back to that.
No, go ahead and go to page 51. Let's do that. Oh, yes.
My comment here was just that I don't really care about a compelling government interest. I'm more concerned about a compelling safety interest. So when it comes to religious freedom, I think we want to make sure we have the reason we would put a restriction in there. Right.
Yeah, no, I love compelling safety and safety concern. Does anybody oppose that? Yeah, no, I think that was brilliant. Okay, keep going down just a little bit more. I wonder where that's at. Nope, those are all good. I have a number 13 that needs to be removed somewhere. I'm not sure where it's at.
I think I took that out. It was just a 13 that was blank. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on page 51.
Okay, we got that taken care of. Beautiful. Now we can go to the next one.
So this is still on page 51.
Joy, sorry. I think it was safety concern, not interest anymore.
Oh yeah, safety concern.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm amazed how you follow all these changes.
Okay, so let's read the one down here because I haven't read this one before from Savannah. So this one says,
yeah, so this was from Savannah during the last retreat we had in November. She said outreach or relationship building to community partners or organizations to offer cultural programming, workshops such as similar to ribbon skirt or shirt making, necklace making, etc. Culture as prevention or intervention. Maybe creating a contact list of tribal partners to contact once a native student enters facility. People willing to come in and teach or share.
I love that. Is that covered in Appendix D at all, Anya?
Not with this language. I think
Okay,
it makes it stronger.
so let's make, can we make a number, yes, perfect, a number 9. And the facility conducts outreach and relationship building to community partners, organizations to offer cultural programming workshops, including a contact list of tribal partners. To contact once a Native youth enters the facility. Does that kind of I know she has lots of really wonderful things in there that are examples, but trying to put it in guideline language. And then I would love to put that whole thing that she has in Appendix D. Does that make sense, Anya and Joy?
Totally.
Okay. I love that. How about others? Perfect.
Maybe change native student to native youth because we don't use students in this context.
Yeah. Perfect. Good catch. Okay. Next, I'm going to kind of hurry us a teeny tiny bit because we have 29 minutes left. Jeff had a really good comment on Jeff Parker. I have Jeff Justice and Jeff Parker. On the earliest possible time, but no later than the next school day after admission to the facility. And I've kind of tried to play with some words on this. And the word no later is probably my challenge in this. And so youth attend juvenile detention education program at the earliest possible time.
When they're ready?
Well, so what I think we find is when they're ready, there's lots of reasons to articulate why they're not ready yet. And so it becomes a slippery slope and kids don't enter so we put the no later than the next school day after admission to the facility to kind of tighten that up. And so we could be youth attend juvenile detention program at the earliest possible time. We could put in parentheses following the word facility. Exceptions can be made for health or behavioral health concerns.
Molly, if I could, I think what we want to do, I think we want to express intent.
Yes.
And so it is the no later that I'm hung up on. But we could use language like preferably, or
that works.
You know what I mean? At the earliest possible time, preferably the next school day after admission. Just because it's the no later than that feels overly prescriptive, and a young person who is even just shows signs of physical altercation may not want to be in the presence of other young people.
Okay. Justice.
Yeah, Jeff, that was actually your last comment kind of was along the lines of what I was thinking. So again, just a real life example of what we've done. I mean, statute says, I think it still says within 5 days. Is that right? I could go back up and look. But most facilities, their practice is the next business day at this point. We kind of got to the point where if we had a kid that came in that we've seen admit 10 times and knew they were going to be fine in school, they might want to go right away. We had other youth that we tried to get go right away because we kind of swung the pendulum the other way after the DRO report and tried to put them in immediately after they were intake, and the kids weren't comfortable even in the facility yet and kind of scared. And we found it was probably more traumatizing than getting them in, for some, getting them in too late. My question is, Molly, do we want to, would a best practice have some sort of documentation about why the youth isn't in the facility the next day? Do you want it like in an incident report, or do we want to just say preferably and let the facility make that decision?
So what we'll do in the tool, you're spot on, Jeff. In the tool, we'll have evidence of policy, procedure, and actual practice of how youth are admitted to the juvenile education program. So that will be in the assessment tool. So I think we can take the exceptions out, Joy. I think Jeff solved it with the word preferably. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to add to this section a number 18. Yep, and you have it from Sam. Okay. Yep, and that's now legislation.
Yes, it was Senate Bill 141 that was passed this session, but then the State Board of Education still hasn't finalized what it will look like for JDEP, but as of right now, it looks like JDEP sites will be accountable for daily attendance, number of academic credits earned, and the dropout rate. And then what the dropout rate is just the enrollment rate of kids that leave JDEP that re-enroll in their neighborhood school or setting. So that's what we're trying to get. We're trying to improve our rate of kids enrolling into another school upon release from JDEP. So those are three metrics that we are proposing, and we are receiving pushback, of course. But the state board hasn't formally adopted those three, so that's why I kind of left this very vague.
That's perfect. Yeah, yeah, and we have transition specialists, so that's wonderful that that's why we did that. Okay, to the next one. I absolutely love the recommendation to change this word. Staff keep youth. So Jeff shared two options, either engaged or active. I love the word engaged, so I'm hoping that I, with my enthusiasm, can convince everybody that that's okay. I mean, if there's any thumbs down, please let me know, but that was great. Okay. Perfect. Thanks. We get to visitation twice per week as a total of visits best practice, or is more than twice a week best practice? The answer is more than twice a week, of course, is best practice. And so this is setting the floor. It's not setting the ceiling.
Molly, would this be a spot we could again use the word preferably?
Youth would have the opportunity for visitation, preferably more than twice a week,
or preferably, yeah, something just so that we can again express the intent of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I would put, I would, Joy, I might Yeah, I think there's okay. I was thinking have the opportunity for visitation twice per week and then put preferably more than twice a week, but either spot's probably fine if that reads okay to everybody.
I like it better the other way. I think at least twice per week, preferably more. Visit, because preferably sounds weird where it's at right there. And then we go to the next one, which is the facility will maximize visitation opportunities to the extent feasible. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
We're gonna
can
put,
wordsmith that later
yeah,
too.
yeah, perfect. But you get the intent that we want. Perfect. Page 60, page 71. And you're gonna, I think I know what this is, but I think it's intellectual and developmental disability. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can we
IDD,
not?
it took over the term mental retardation. Yeah.
Correct. So is it okay to use intellectual and developmental disability, or is the acronym preferred? I think I would love to spell it out, but sometimes acronyms are preferred by organizations. Sam, do you know?
If it hasn't been spelled out previously, I think you're correct. It needs to be
We need
spelled
to
out.
spell out. Okay,
If
so
it
it's
hasn't been
intellect.
spelled out previously in the
Yep.
document, if this is the first time, it has to be spelled out.
Yep. So it's intellectual and developmental disability. And then parentheses I/DD. Parentheses. And
So
then,
Molly, would you want this to be changed everywhere or just for this point, and then we can keep using IDD?
well, I'm going to ask. I think now that we've done this, we can use IDD later, correct? Brian, Anya, Lawrence, anybody?
I'll just weigh in. I think, and maybe Jeff Justison or others who, as we imagine the audience for these guidelines,
Mhm.
goodness, we all know the acronym soup that we all deal
Yeah.
with is insane. And the accessibility of documents and not using all of our jargon and then, oh my God, and the acronym, oh, like I can't, if it's 10 pages earlier and it says I slash, or 10 pages later and it says I/DD, I might be like, okay, I think I know what this means. So long story short, um, Joy, there may be ways that if it's in a similar section, you use the shorthand, the acronym, but we I think are smart enough, we can be like, and want to provide accessibility that we occasionally use the long form words because this is a long document and we
Yep.
want somebody to understand it so that when they're page 5 or page 55 what we're talking about. So it's okay to use both, and then people can actually follow what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes,
I agree with Brian because not everybody's gonna read the whole, set of guidelines from page 1 through the end of it. And if somebody is looking at what page are we on, 70 and then 85, then it's worth repeating. And another thing to remember, this is a public document. This is not just a document that will be used internally by detention facilities. It's open to the public. So if a parent reads it, they should be able to understand what guidelines entail.
Okay. So Joy, I think we want to expand on it and just use it every
Okay,
time.
yeah, I'll just increase the text everywhere. Put
Yeah.
that text in.
I think it's only used a couple times, so it's not too bad.
And Joy, it's not supposed to have the backslash. It's just IDD.
Okay.
And in the chat, I put the link to the federal website.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. And now let's go to page 81. And this is the same thing. So that we'll fix that. That's another spot to fix that in. And then we go to the next one. Page 80. So these are rescue tools are available on each living unit. And so super appreciate, Jeff, you asking us about rescue tools. This is definitely jargon that detention facilities know. So Jeff Justison, if you're still on with us, can you maybe help us define what a rescue tool is?
Well, the first the first thing that I would think of would be most like at Norcor, we had staff carry the cutters,
the knife, the cutters,
the knife, the suicide cutter, whatever you want to call it. That was the sharp knife.
That's what the rescue.
The sharp
Yeah,
knife
that's
that could cut things off. So I'm assuming that's probably what was meant here.
Yeah, that is what it is. The rescue tool is the but I don't know what it's called other than a rescue tool.
Yeah, it was always just referred to, I think we referred to it as a suicide cutter, which because it would be to use for something like that. So I'll see if I can get a better name of it and get back to Joy.
Molly?
Yes.
So Lawrence, sorry, I'm gonna put you on the spot without a warning. So Lawrence worked a lot on the youth suicide prevention work and did help develop a training for the juvenile justice staff. So Lawrence, is there a way that you could look at the section, maybe not right now, but later to see how it can be improved around best practices?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Lawrence. That would be awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so and we will kind of give you a tiny bit of a deadline because we need this done by next week. So the next one now so this is the word here is facility not otherwise authorized by law. The word is authorized that's left out there. Comes straight out of statute. Thank you. Good catch again. Super appreciate it. Actually made me look up the law. So that was great. The next one is unique too. Because it says references to the Oregon statutes are listed to the column in the right. That comes out of a very, very old grouping of our detention guidelines because this time we list the ORSs at the beginning of this paragraph. So we can take out the references to Oregon revised statutes are listed into the column right. We can just eliminate that sentence. Oh, Jeff.
A different question. Thanks for straightening that up. I don't want to belabor, but I have a curiosity around the dental question. And it's best practice number 1 on page 82, but I'm just curious, it says within 30 days of admission, and I'm trying to remember statute around how often a youth can be detained for 30 days. Like, is there Is there incongruence there? And I don't want to take up more time. I just I caught that. I was like, that seems weird. 30 days is a long time. And
So I'll give you a fast answer to that, Jeff. So the fast answer is youth who are pre-adjudication, so they haven't been found guilty, can actually be in detention for really long periods of time. The first checkpoint is 28 days. Most kids get out before then, but the first check, so very serious offenses, the first check is at 28 days and a judge can find good cause, and then they can go up to 56 days.
Okay.
But then if a youth decides that they don't want to have a speedy trial, there's all sorts of reasons. Through their defense attorney, they can waive the 56-day ruling. And some kids are in detention sometimes. I think the longest that we've had is, well, probably close to 2 years.
Okay. That totally answers my question. Thanks. That number, that was the first time something that long popped up in these best practices, that caught my attention.
Yeah. Yes. No, great question. So then we go to the next one, which is the funny numbering section. And that is funny because it's right out of statute, Jeff. We just copied and pasted the statute, the relevant statute numbers in there.
It makes me wonder if there's a 419A-0551 subarticle 1 that we don't have.
I think that there is because we didn't think it pertained.
Okay, perfect. Cool.
So this one also really good on the 8 points. Detention facilities compliance with, and then we just leave it there. And so it's detention facilities compliance with inspections and mandated reporting. So what I mean by that is we have different people come through the facilities. Each of those things come through the facilities and do some sort of inspection. But I don't know that it completely makes sense. I haven't seen this report, and so I didn't have time today to search it out. So I'm going to ask Lindsay, is this do you collect this from us every year?
I get my information from the Oregon Youth Authority. Like I try to get it every February, but they kind of go out to like March, April.
So do we report to you if we have our sanitation and hygiene
No.
inspections?
No.
Isn't that what DOC collects?
So I'm going to ask Jeff Justice on that. Does this look familiar to you from DOC?
There are walls in here, so just one moment. I'll be right back with you. Sorry.
Okay. So, Jeff, you're spot on. I don't know the answer to your question.
Yeah, and maybe we just punt here, and somebody that does can figure it out. It just was like a list that seemed like a great list, but it wasn't in reference to anything.
Okay.
The list itself looked awesome.
They're reporting it to us. That's what it says here. Information will be provided to the YDC Juvenile Justice Subcommittee to compile a yearly compliance report on each facility and trends in the state for use of detention. That doesn't make much sense to me.
It doesn't to me either, unless it becomes our peer inspections that we're going to do. And
probably that's what it is.
And these are the old sections in our previous document. And now that we've updated the document, we need to put our new section heads in there. Because Jeff Justice, and this isn't DOC, is it?
No.
No, it says here it's should be reported to us.
So I think I think it is our sections that we need to do are the ones that need to happen here. So I will help Joy figure this piece out, Anya. The three of us can figure this out.
Let's do that.
But it is a really great catch because it didn't make, I couldn't make any sense of it either.
Yeah, I would agree, and I can help with that too. It's just kind of there is it's nothing that I see that's like, oh yeah, this is what it was referring to. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had to step away for just a sec.
No, you're good. You're
but
good.
I'll help figure it out too. Just let me know.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. These can be combined. So Jeff caught this, that these are really, really redundant. So it really just say detention facilities track their incident reports and follow up as necessary. Yeah. Okay. Appendix D. So great question. This actually came from the subcommittee. Did the work on this, the subcommittee of the Oregon Youth Authority. Is that correct, Anya?
Yes, the OYA Native American Advisory Group helped refine this document, but it was really developed by Lincoln County Detention Facility and their Native American specialist, but the facility no longer exists.
Yeah.
But that's how it came. That's where it came from. It came from Lincoln County Detention, and it was vetted by the Native American Advisory Group.
Molly, I think we hit this in earlier when we were going to incorporate this stuff into section D, appendix D. What's missing in this is the phrase "such as," and it exists in the body of the document, but it doesn't exist here in appendix D because this is overly prescriptive and too narrow. What we need is "such as," yeah.
Yeah. So youth may keep with them in their rooms items such as, correct?
I would say youth may keep with them in their rooms something of religious significance, such as, like, youth may keep with them in their rooms ceremonial items,
such as
whatever. But let's qualify what type of. Let's narrow the category before we put the such as in there.
Okay. Ceremonial items such as an eagle or other. An eagle.
Yeah.
Okay.
An eagle feather.
An eagle feather.
Or other ceremonial feather. Either eagle or other ceremonial feather. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. That was beautiful. Okay. And then we get to the page 110. And I think you're right. We take out, it should just be a generic placeholder.
Yeah, I think
you already have it.
Calamity is D because Sam provided a sample MOU. That particular one was, well, right, Sam?
He left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that was just, it was just a sample MOU.
Yeah, we can just put in the parentheses, the educational grantee. That works fine. That's good. Because all of us will just sign one with Willamette ESD and they'll just be really busy. Okay. And then the last piece of the example, we were just so grateful they gave it to us that we didn't clean it up. But again, I think we can make this one just generic. Facility staff will contact dispatch and take the phone number out. And just make it.
I think, Molly, if I remembered correctly, it seems that every facility has a different setup.
This is an example, yeah.
Right. So they will have some different ways of dealing with emergencies based on where they are.
But we just don't need to put the phone numbers in there.
Right,
I
right,
think
definitely.
yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
want people to call this number all day. I don't think the dispatcher will be thrilled with that.
No, because that would not be my county, and if we called that number, they could not help us.
Yeah, but good catch, Jeff. But that's how it, why it's is specific. We just did not quite
Yeah.
generalize it.
Okay. Seatbelt cutter. Beautiful. Jeff Justice and the rescue tool or seatbelt cutter. So a rescue tool or seatbelt cutter will be available. So when we go back to the suicide piece, that would be good. Does that help, Jeff Parker? Yeah. Okay. We have 1 minute before 1 o'clock, and I'm gonna ask if there are any other significant changes or intent changes. I think we captured it all. Really, again, this group has been so engaged. Thank you, Caitlin. Annette has been really involved. Have really appreciated working with her. Christina, thank you for listening to us as we've gone through this. You've been a great partner to just listen as we talk. And then, of course, the team from Youth Development Oregon has been Anya, Brian, Joy. All of you have been great. I saw that Abraham joined us today, so that's also fun to have Abraham here. Are there any final or parting words that we need to do?
Hey, Molly, this is Brian. I know we're at the top of the hour. I just wanted to add, not related to detention guidelines, just deep appreciation for your work as our committee chair. Thank you. And other members of our council, thank you so much. One thing I wanted to just share, just as a FYI, we, and not to, I want to be fast. We have our OJDDP, Office of Juvenile Justice dollars on an annual basis. And those are dollars that we're obviously the vast majority of which we're putting out through like grants that various organizations get to do important programming around the state. We're also using those dollars to support the Youth Development Council or our state advisory group. You are all members of the state advisory group for your travel and reimbursement and all the things that are going into supporting our council for their important work in juvenile justice and other spaces. We also occasionally use those dollars for technical assistance. We've used those in the past to support I'm going to hopefully get this right, Oregon Juvenile Juvenile Department Directors Association Conference. And we know that the great speakers and training that are happening as a part of that are really valued and important to the field. There's an opportunity around a conference, and it's called the Students with a Purpose Conference, and they're bringing a speaker who does like STEM education and engagement and career exposure. So we're going to use some of our Title II dollars, $7,500 of those from I think a year or two ago. Anya can help me get the exact fiscal year. Those dollars do expire over time, so we'll use dollars from one of our past years to support the speaker, Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson is I'm gonna see if I can get his name right. He's coming to the metro area. Dr. Alani Johnson's invented the Super Soaker, done some other things. So about 300 students, families, and educators will be coming together at this gathering in January, and we've elected as a kind of with our discretionary dollars to support that in the amount of $7,500. And just wanted to tell you all, I think what we're doing OJDDA related us technical assistance, wanted this committee to know. I know we're at the top of the hour and at the end of the time, but just being like totally like excited about this and wanted to inform the committee just as a FYI. I can get more information out and share it at our YDC quarterly meeting, but wanted to tell this committee first.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, we will we have a couple of grants from the Fed that will expire at the end of September. So we will be not necessarily requesting requests for technical assistance, but we're open to requests for technical assistance of this kind.
That's great. That's great partnership and great, yeah. And if there's any way we can participate or be included,
I was just gonna say, doesn't get us the entrance ticket.
Sorry, I'm on mute. I think there is an opportunity for us to send a couple of folks to this. I can't quote to you the exact number of tickets or entries we would get, but I'll figure that out and we'll, say more.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Caitlin. It is 5 after.
Yeah, thanks.
We will have our meeting in January. We won't have a meeting at the end of this month, so we'll take some time off. We won't see and hear anybody till the end of January. We'll go back to our 4th Wednesday plan with a new year and some new challenge, some new tasks. So there's no rest for us. We will jump right into 3-year planning, and we will jump right into probation reform, which is absolutely fun and exciting. And we can really kick off some new innovations and reform in the juvenile justice world. So look forward to seeing everybody on next Thursday, both virtually and in person, and then kicking back off at the end of January. Is that good?
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome to join the committee.
I'm booked that day. Thank you.
Well, you see, you brought it on yourself. You've become such a valuable contributor.
Nope, I'm
It's
good.
been
Thank
fun.
you.
No, thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you.
That's
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.